came about 500 years ago, invented about 500 years ago, a little over 500 years ago. And he came especially for the times that we're in now, which is called Kaliyuga. According to the Vedas, there are 4 different seasons of the universe. Like a spring, summer, fall, and winter we have here. The universe also has these epochs or seasons. And the current epoch or season we're in now is called Kaliyuga. And Kaliyuga began about 5,000 years ago, at the time that the Bible was written and other things happened at that time around, about 5,000 years ago. Bhagavad Gita was written at that time, according to the internal dating of the scripture. It was about 5,000 years ago. And Krishna appeared at that time, that Krishna avatar. Krishna is considered the supreme. We call him Godhead because he is the origin of all other incarnations of God. So God is one, but he can appear in any form he wants. He's not limited. We also can take many forms. This is the form we have in this lifetime. In previous lifetimes, you could have been in other forms, male or female, animal, insect, plant. That's according to Vedic understanding. Anyhow, so Mahaprabhu appeared, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared about 500 years ago. He came especially for this time of Kaliyuga, when there's a rise of science and the decline of religion. Scientific knowledge is basically materialism, atoms, molecules, things like that, and the attempt to reduce everything to non-personal forms, non-personal entities, impersonal entities or things. And people start thinking in terms of things instead of persons and relations and things like that. So Mahaprabhu tried to teach that God is a person, and we are persons, and we have a personal relationship with him. Basically, Jesus also taught the same thing about 2,000 years ago. God was the Father, and we are all his children, something like that. But Mahaprabhu came to re-emphasize that in a very scientific way, if you want to call it science. Means in a very, he has left a great deal of literature, very systematic process for how to practice this. In India, they have the yoga system and other highly developed systems for spiritual practices. So Mahaprabhu gave the scientific process for becoming God conscious or Krishna conscious, according to the yoga system, also Bhakti Yoga system. The Bhakti Yoga system is a very interesting type of yoga. Yoga basically means to link yoke or yoke, like when you yoke a cow or a calf or a bull rather to the plow. That yoga means the same basic idea, yoke, or to connect with God. So bhakti means devotion or love. Dhanyavad Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
This is Shanta Maharaj and Muni Maharaj. And these are, you remember, Krishna Kesari's mother.
Yeah.
These are the friends like Ivana. Ivana and I too, and
Irina.
Ivan. Huh?
Irina.
Irina.
Irina. Huh?
Yeah.
Irina?
Irina.
Okay. And so you know everyone now. So anyhow, he's teaching this Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga means the linking with God through devotion or love. And he's taught that the best way to cultivate that kind of love, loving relationship with God, a loving union with God, was through the chanting of this mantra. They gave a mantra. And the mantra is called the Hare Krishna or Maha Mantra. And it's just made of 3 words, Hare, Krishna, and Rama. And so we chant that, and that is a way of, like I said, linking with God, and a way of developing love with God. It's a very simple process because it Kaliyuga, the present age we are, we're not so adept at practicing yoga and meditation and fixing the mind and all those things. It takes quite a bit of doing to extract ourselves from our busy lives and disturbed minds and disturbed environment and terrorist attacks and wars and things like that. So to meditate really requires a great deal of effort and concentration. So because that is very difficult to do in this day and age, Mahaprabhu was given this very simple process of chanting the Maha Mantra. And we can do that with music or sitting in a corner and meditating, chanting silently with yourself or with some others. But music helps to make it a very simple and joyful process. And it's highly recommended that chanting be done in the company of devotees, persons who are dedicating their lives to that. And I was mentioning to one other Christian who came here the other day that in the Bible it says that wherever two or more are gathered in my name, I am also present. Do you know that verse
Yes.
from the Bible?
Yes.
You heard that before,
Yes.
right? So even Jesus taught that Sankirtan, what we call Sankirtan, chanting together or saying together the names of God. The manifestation of God is present in that. So Mahaprabhu taught that same process. Krishna will come and make himself known to you within your own heart, within your own consciousness. You'll be able to understand his presence. So we're going to teach you the mantra, if you like. You can chant along with us. And we're going to play some musical instruments and to try to keep everybody enthused. And we do it in a call response system, where one person chants the mantra, and everyone listens, and then everyone chants the mantra, and the person who gave the mantra first is listening. So it's a kind of a conversation, an exchange. Bhaja Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivastava Bhakta-vrinda. Bhaja Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Nittai Dev ki
Jai.
Jai Sankirtan Jagya ki Jai.
Jai.
Jai Giri Govardhan ki Jai.
Jai.
Nittai Gaur Hari Bol. Jai Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Bol.
Jai Sripad Bhakti Yoga Puri Maharaj ki
Jai.
Thank you very much.
That was fun.
Very nice. Gauranga Mahaprabhu.
Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Guru. We are very fortunate to have the association of the Vaishnavas and saintly personalities. This is our good fortune. It is being told that after many births, good fortune, we can get an opportunity to have the association of saintly personalities. So we must take advantage of that fortune that arises in our life by engaging ourselves in their service. So in our Indian tradition, lot of different conceptions are there about God, but the highest conception of the love of God is revealed by the Supreme Lord Himself around 500 years back in a small village. You can say there is a 9 island in West Bengal in India. Lord came a Chaitanya Mahaprabhu there, and he inaugurated the Sankirtan movement that Maharaj just asked us to do
And
that.
which Krishna Kesava just came back from.
Yes, Krishna Kesava Prabhu also visited very recently there, and in all the different pastime places there. Lord appeared with his associates. Whenever Lord comes, he does not come alone. He comes with his whole world and associates. So every year on the appearance day of this special occasion, our mutt, central mutt, Navadip Dham, there is a arrangement of parikrama. You know what is parikrama means? Parikrama means we go under the association of the acharyas, gurus, Vaishnavas, and visit all the holy places where Lord did his pastimes. And how we see? By ear we see things. That means we hear from them about the glories of those places, pastime, and with devotees. So that is very nice, what you can say, arrangement that Mahaprabhu's devotees made. And we had the good opportunity that Sripad Puri Maharaj sent us to join Sri Chaitanya Saraswati Mutt, and then first time Maharaj I could join that parikrama. Before that I have never joined like that. And then it was very nice. We joined many years with so many devotees of like 2,000, 3,000 devotees together, and it's like whole day like a picnic. Yes, a spiritual picnic. We go out in the morning after Mangalarti, and with devotees. When the breakfast time comes, prasadam comes from the temple. On the street, both lines, the thousands of devotees sitting, they're all taking prasadam, food. It's quite amazing if you see that. And distribution and kirtan, the whole day it continues. And we come back in the evening, again taking rest, and again next day. 4 days it continues.
Wow. Wow.
It's very amazing,
National holiday.
Yeah.
A week, almost a week.
Yeah. And then on the day of Lord Purnima, we fast for grains, and we remember the Mahaprabhu's pastime. We read Chaitanya Charitamrita with the association of devotees. So it is very nice occasion to be there. But also it is told the holy places are there where there are saints. At their lotus feet, all the holy places are there. So we should go to holy places to serve the saints. So all our activities of Mahaprabhu's mission is to teach us how we can engage ourselves under the guidance of a devotee or Vaishnavas. That's what I have to say. Vancha kalpataru sukita sumita patitani pavanam.
Jai Mahasrapati Niskama Sant Maharaj ki Jai.
Jai.
And Munima, would you like to say a few words? A few words?
There is a verse glorifying Mahaprabhu.
Speak up, because I can hear.
There is a verse glorifying Mahaprabhu, and which was being chanted by Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur, and also sometimes by Srila Sridhar Maharaj. And many Vaishnavas chant this till today. Nam Sreshtham Manumapi Sachiputra Matra Swarupam Rupam Tasyavrajam Urupurim Mathurim Koshtabadim Radha Kundam Girivara Maho Radhika Madhavasam Prapto Jasya Pathiti Kripaya Sri Gurum Tam Natovasmi. So which means I bow down to that Guru, that Acharya, who gave me some connection with that personality who established the highest glory of the holy name. That is none other than the son of Sachimata, that is Gauranga Mahaprabhu. And then it lists certain other things also, that verse. So it is said, at least according to our ancient traditions, that this age, this universe is not a very it's a very old, universe. Modern science says something, but the Vedic revelation is that this universe is trillions of years old, and
Trillions of years
trillions
old.
of years old,
Trillions, yeah.
10 to the power of 15. So many times the Lord has given mercy in this world, especially when there is too much growth of irreligion. That time Lord comes to establish the religion himself. So there was a necessity, because the age was, this is called the Kaliyuga. So in this age, the Yuga Dharma, what is the religion of the age, has to be established. And at the same time, in the previous age, Lord Krishna had come, and he had few unfulfilled wishes. Actually, Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead, yet some wishes remain unfulfilled. So to fulfill those wishes, which means what is this devotional service? What is the nectar of devotional service? To taste that, the Lord took another incarnation and appeared as Gauranga Mahaprabhu. So therefore, in India, there is Vrindavan Dham, and non-different from Vrindavan is Navadvip. Like this Dham, if you go towards Uttar Pradesh, towards Delhi, there is Vrindavan, and if you come towards the eastern side, Bengal, there is Navadvip Dham. So this Navadvip is a hidden Vrindavan. So here Lord gave the highest mercy. And India is the ancient land of theistic conception. But the best, highest, and what is being desired by the great sages, that was given by the Supreme Lord himself in that Navadvip Dham. So there is necessity of preaching in this world, because people are suffering, people are in so much kind of misconception, they are fighting with each other based upon so many reasons, but there is no reason for this. When the soul can taste the highest love and become satisfied fully. So therefore, to give mercy to even the most fallen, he came as Gauranga. In the previous age, if someone would do some offense, some sin, immediate punishment is there. But in this age, everybody is so sinful that if Lord wants to punish everybody, then the whole world has to be punished. So therefore, he is not seeing any offenses in anybody and giving them in love of God, which is called Krishna Prem. And by that, he is clearing their hearts, and in this way, he is destroying the very root of sins from its very roots. And not only that, he is giving the highest love, which means there is a particular indication of that Krishna, what is his extraordinary quality in comparison to all other incarnation, and that is one of the thing is his wonderful associates, his Parshadas. They are Atula Prema Mandita, that kind of love which no other, personality can have, that kind of associates that he has, he brought them. And in their association, he is giving them that type of, service by which develops through the association of devotees through love and affection. So therefore, the whole world, in the time of its greatest need, when they are going to wars, terrorism, fightings, then if they can accept this type of mercy, then they will forget all the reasons of fighting and unnecessary terrorism, because there is no need for that, and the world will become what Srila Prabhupada used to say, the Vaikuntha. So he said in one of his lectures that you American boys and girls, because American people are like at that time very young who joined him, just 17 years old, 18 years old people. So this is the highest benediction. And if you people of America who build these big skyscrapers, if you simply take up this movement of Mahaprabhu, then this earth, this whole world will be a Vaikuntha planet. Vaikuntha means no suffering, because America is the leading country of the world. So if the intelligent people of the world can understand the contribution of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to devotional service, then they will accept it, and there will be harmony among all religions, not only India but Christianity and also Islam, and everybody will become hankering for this thing, then there will be no more hankering for other things.
Sure.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Bhakti Vigyan Muni Maharaj ki jai.
Jai.
So, yeah, that was a little introduction to what we're doing. And does anyone have any questions or anything they'd
Yeah,
like to
I have
ask?
a question about karma.
You have to speak up because I can't hear so well.
I have a question about karma.
Karma.
A lot of people suffer from karmic past relationships, that karma that was passed to them from a previous lives. How do you help them?
Well, the first thing we want to do is to try to stop creating more karma. Now, what is the cause of karma? That's the first thing we have to understand. So once we can understand what the cause of karma is, we can stop it. And then we can learn how to deal with the past karma, okay? So first of all, what is the cause of karma? What is your understanding of that?
My understanding is that, well, I was trained as a past life therapist, so my understanding is based on my training.
You have to speak up a little bit more?
She was trained as a past life therapist, so her understanding of karma is based on that training.
Right. So the way I understand it, that something happened in the past that was not completed, was not resolved. It's unresolved, and you died in the moment of while you were in that event. Then soul remembers that it's like a check mark, yeah, unresolved. So when that soul is being reborn into a new body, life gives you the same circumstances through different people, of course, to go through the same type of experience, so you actually get to the resolution phase. Most people don't get to the resolution phase. They keep stuck in the same circle of trauma all the time, and they are actually running away from it because it's painful. They keep attracting the same relationships. They keep getting the same bad jobs, the same abuse, and if they don't resolve it, if they don't deal with it, if they actually don't look into what actually happened in the past life, then it keeps carrying over in the next life and the next life and the next life.
Yes.
So my job is to actually get them to the original event, then actually get them see what happened and resolve it. And once it's resolved, they actually feel better, their life changes. So that was my understanding, and I wanted to get your perspective on that.
Okay. Did you learn this from someone?
Mm-hmm.
Someone, teacher?
Yes.
Who is that teacher?
Dr. Netherton, he's a psychiatrist.
Dr. Narottam
Netherton, Maurice Netherton.
or Maurice Netherton?
He developed this method of past life therapy.
Okay. Well, according to my knowledge of Vedic literature, Karma is of the same nature as Newton's law. You know Newton's law of action and reaction? Every action produces an opposite and equal reaction, according to Newton's second law. First law is about force and mass and movement, and the second law is about action and reaction.
This third law.
Huh?
Third law.
Is it the third law?
Yeah.
Third, okay. Anyhow, this action, every action produces a reaction.
Nice in your chair.
Yeah, it's uncomfortable.
I just want to just take a chair.
Well, in Sanskrit, the word karma actually means an action, to act.
Oh.
Karma, to do. So, whatever you do, something is going to be done also to you. If you're doing it, then it's done to you. It's like, I know the American Indians, I heard once that they had this tradition. When they would kill an animal for food, they would tell that animal, I'm going to kill you this lifetime for my food. And next lifetime, you're going to come and kill me for your food. That's karma. Action and reaction. Now, there is also something in India called moksha. Moksha means liberation from the karmic cycle. From this action and reaction process that's going on. Everything you do, you're going to get some reaction for it. And then when you get this reaction, you have to take birth again so that whatever reactions you haven't met in that present life, you'll have to get in the next life. And that continues from life to life. And that whole process is called samsara, the cycle of birth and death. Where you take birth in different life forms of life. And as long as you're doing things in this world and getting reactions for it, you're going to have to remain in that cycle of birth and death. Now,
this samsara and samskara, she's thinking it is samskara.
huh?
Samskara?
She's thinking samsara and samskara same thing.
Oh, no.
Different thing.
Sanskar is something else. That is your
Like a karma only.
Impressions.
Yeah.
Impressions.
What are your qualification for taking birth in different stages? But anyhow, this is my understanding. You have, if moksha means that you get free from that action and reaction, but how do you do that? How do you get moksha? Well, in the Bhagavad Gita, for instance, have you heard or read the
I
Bhagavad
heard
Gita?
it, yeah.
The Bhagavad Gita, it explains that that by following your dharma and giving up, don't act for fruitive, for a result. When you do your duty and you don't think of any result coming from that, that's one way to get free from karma. Because karma means you're acting for something, getting some result. If you give up that desire for the result, and you just act out of duty, I'm a teacher, so I have to teach these students, or if you're a policeman, I have to follow the law. If you're a plumber, you have to clean the toilets or fix the toilets, whatever. But you do it because that's what I'm designed for. That's what my profession is, and not with any real other interest in mind. They're very hard to do, but that's called dharma, or doing your duty. That's recommended if you want to get free from karma. You just do your duty, and you don't think of anything
But
else but your duty.
how do you define what is your duty?
According to what like I said, if you're a teacher, you have to teach. You don't want to teach bad things to students. You want to be a good teacher, a good role model, and things like that. Teach people how to be moral, how to be good, how to behave themselves by your own example, or whatever it is that you have to teach them. You just do that, and you don't. You're not there for some other purposes. So basically, it's just a common sense thing. And in the scriptures, however, there are specific instructions given to each person as to what their duty is. Whether you're a student, or you're a householder, or you're a warrior, a soldier, or you're a politician, or you're a priest. Everyone has certain duties they're given in the scriptures, and one must follow that in order to remain free from the karma, from misdeeds, and try to do things with detachment, just following your prescribed duties, basically something like that. And then you don't get the karma for it. Just like, if a man goes to war and he kills so many people, soldier, he goes to war, he kills so many people. When he comes home, they don't punish him for murder. Rather, they give him a parade. Now, this is a fellow who killed so many people. But why are they giving him a parade?
He served. Yeah.
Giving him honor, giving him a medal. Because he did his duty. He wasn't there trying to kill. If he goes home and he tries to kill his neighbor for some argument, then he'll go to jail. He'll get the reaction from that. A good example of how we can do things without personal interest in it, just for a higher purpose rather than for our own purposes. There's a difference between those two actions. Okay? Now that's one process of getting rid of karma. Then the other is taught by Krishna, the highest method. He says, Sarvadharman Parityaja. Give up all your duties. In a revolutionary statement. Give up all your duties, performance of all your duties, and simply surrender to me. Your ultimate purpose is to serve me. And if you are always serving God with that mentality, that fixed intelligence on God, and doing everything in for His satisfaction, His service. Just like Jesus taught, love God above all. If that is your mentality, and you're actually doing that, thy will be done, not my will. And then also you can become free. Krishna says, Moksha Shyami Masucha. I will give you liberation from any sinful activities that you accrue from not following your duty. I will take that. I will take responsibility for that. And you won't have to suffer for that. You just have to make your connection with me. That's what the ultimate thing is. That is the ultimate moksha, of liberation from this world, to get that connection. Then whatever you do in this world is not like an ordinary person who's doing it for this reason or that reason, whether for yourself or for others or whatever it may be. Because all of that will acquire even good karma or bad karma. But good karma and bad karma is the same thing, because it'll give you another birth. If you have good karma, you have to come back and get rewarded for that. If you do bad karma, you have to come back and be punished, whatever it is you're doing. So the idea is to take Krishna's solution, ultimate solution to heart, and surrender, sharanagati, surrender to His will, for His desire, to satisfy His desire, try to become His servant. And then your path to freedom is assured. Path beyond samsara is assured. Even you take birth again, it'll be in a form of a devotee, where your life is very blissful and there's no stress, no misery, anything. We don't face the same problems that everyone else is worried about, bills and this and the other thing they have to do. Krishna helps his devotees, provides parking places for you, whatever you need.
Magic. Happens a lot.
Of course, we don't do it with that intention,
Right.
but we serve, and then by His grace, by receiving His mercy, when He sees we are very sincere and wanting to serve Him and love Him and do everything for Him, and then He establishes His personal relationship with each and every one of those who have devoted themselves to Him. Personal relationship, and that is the perfection of life, as we understand, and as the scriptures explain it, as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu so beautifully explained it to us also. So that's karma. Karma, action and reaction. The reaction and the action that come from the action, especially fruitive actions, actions that are meant to get something, to take something from the environment, to gain some position, some wealth, something, power, whatever, honor. Anything we try to take, that will also have to be taken from us, but the balance has to be maintained. Only when we understand beyond this vertical plane of material existence, when we take the perpendicular, the horizontal path. No, sorry, the vertical path, the horizontal. Then we go up to the higher plane. Then we can make a solution on this material life. That is our aim, and our therapy is this chanting of the holy names. And engaging in Bhakti Yoga means service of the Lord. Everything we do is we try to do that for the satisfaction of Krishna. When we speak of Krishna. When we cook for Krishna and offer the food to him, and then we take it. Today we're going to have sat-prasad. That is, prasad means the mercy of the Lord, what Krishna has accepted. Then we can take that. Like that. If we work, we try to somehow either work for Krishna, dovetail that work in the service of the Lord. That's why everything can be utilized.
So how do you work for Krishna if you have like a full-time job?
Well,
How
Yeah, like
no.
if people.
no, I'm telling you whether you heard that.
Yes. How do you work for Krishna? Well, for instance, like we're all, Maharaj here, Shanta Maharaj, Muni Maharaj, myself, we're all scientists. So we've been using our scientific background, our scientific training, to hold conferences, scientific conferences, inviting scientists, and we teach them the science of God consciousness, trying to awaken the theistic conception of reality, which modern science totally is opposed to. Actually, they're opposed.
Well, they're getting there.
Huh?
They're getting there.
They get it there, but, so we're trying to help them. That's how we use our science.
They measure
Scientific.
you guys. They put little electrodes on your brain and.
Yes. So we have, we use our understanding of science, and we study the research, literature, everything. But we can show how to turn that to understanding that there's something more than just atoms and molecules and gravity and other
Electric
forces
current.
at work, huh?
Electric current.
Whatever, everything can't give a complete understanding of things because, if you're missing, if God is there, then unless we introduce that idea, that influence, we can't understand how things are going on. I give this example of grass. The scientists will say, well, we know what grass is, we know how it works. Photosynthesis and cellulose and all these things are there. I said, okay, we'll give you all, if you had all the money in the world there, all the scientists in the world working in the most sophisticated lab in the world, could you make a single blade of grass? What?
They actually make artificial grass right now.
Yeah, well, I'm not talking about artificial, I'm
Plastic.
talking a blade of grass that
Natural,
goes on the
natural.
between the cracks of the sidewalk.
Right.
Can you make that?
Nope.
They can only
No,
replicate.
not a single scientist I know has said yes, they can do it. They can't, because they know, and they're embarrassed by that. Oh, we've got this theory and that theory, and we've gone to the moon, and it's Mars, then what? I can't, yeah. A single grain of rice, can you make that? How are you getting food? Are you depending on your chemicals to make what chemicals can make a grain of rice? Yeah. All your chemicals is useless if you want to make food on your table. You can't go to the scientist to make it. A farmer, you have to go, and he has to depend on the rain and God to make the whole thing work.
The sun, yeah.
Because it's not in our control. And the simplest thing. So we give this conference every year, we call it Science and Scientist. Science and Scientist. Science is explaining so many things. All right, can you explain the scientist? Can your science explain? Scientists can explain science, but can science explain the scientist? No. What is more important? The most important thing. They're not neglected. So like this. I try to point out very common things, very simple things, common sense things. And anybody, they don't have to be a big scientist to understand this. Yet they're supposed to be so intelligent, and why don't they face these problems? At least consider them. At least recognize.
Because they're mad scientists.
Huh?
They're mad
Mad.
scientists. Mad.
Mad.
They're mad scientists.
They're
Mad
mad.
scientists.
They're corrupted.
They're all crazy.
Right.
And they because they expect us all to believe that too.
Right.
And I, as a scientist, we all believed all that stuff. We believe them because they're the scientists, they're the authorities. You go to school, you won't get a good grade unless you follow what they're saying. So we had to go through all that until we realized, hey, wait a minute, there's something more. Hare Krishna. And thankfully, from the devotees, we hear these things. I had heard these things from my Guru Dev, Prabhupada. He's the first one that woke me up.
That's what I was going to ask
On
you.
this, huh?
When did you transition and how did you transition?
What is that?
How did that transition happen in you?
I'm a quantum chemist. That's practice. I studied for that. Got Ph.D. in that area. And in quantum theory, they have this problem. How you make a measurement affects what you're measuring, and the measurement is made by an act of conscious act. So how does the conscious act make the measurement? They can't answer that question because they don't know what consciousness is. I didn't know what consciousness was either. I didn't know where to turn, how to learn about consciousness. So I thought I'd go to the yogis. I think they know something about consciousness, India, and maybe study yoga and find out what they know about consciousness. So I looked up in the newspaper something about yoga classes. I went there, and it was the devotees. They were talking about Krishna consciousness, Bhakti Yoga. And so I asked them, and in 1 minute, I understood everything that they were saying. They said, you are a person, and God is a person. Finished. That's all. I'm thinking they were a bag of molecules, quantum events. Huh?
You don't have to go to school.
What's that?
You don't have to go to school.
Well, that's,
Pay $100,000.
I thought we got all through the school. We don't know what consciousness is. We don't know what it means to be a person. Okay. Anyhow.
Does
Yes.
that mean that being a person, we are living a unique experience of God created in this shape and form and starting life from this zone and doing all this? And the total of the total experiences of everyone is the experience that God has in this dimension.
What did he say?
Say that we are being a person.
Yes.
We have opportunity of experiencing things. So this whole everybody experiencing, maybe in that sense God is experiencing everything through those different individuals.
What is that experience part of?
Yeah.
Yes. Rishikesh means the controller of our experiences. Everything we experience, there's a controller of that. There's a source of everyone's experience, everyone's perception. There's a source. Who is the supreme experiencer, the supreme enjoyer? They call it Adi Purusha, the first person, the original person, from whom all other persons are emanating. Just like, your parents had children. So your parents are the origin of so many children. And then your parents are children of their parents and so forth. So who's the original parent? That's God. From everyone is coming. So he is the enjoyer. He's the ultimate supreme enjoyer. Your parents, they can't enjoy what you're enjoying, but God is different in that way. He can enjoy everything that we're experiencing. That's called Rishikesh. Rishi means the senses, and Isha means the controller or enjoyer of those senses. So actually, we're all servants of Him, although we don't realize it. We think we're enjoying for our own selves. But really, we're servants of Him. And when you realize this, when you understand this, when your knowledge comes to you of the reality of this fact, then we can understand what is our relationship with God, and how important it is, and how essential it is. To not understand it is to be in Maya. Maya is called delusion. You heard of this Maya word?
Yeah.
Maya means to think I'm independent, I'm separate, I'm not connected with anything higher than myself or with others or anything. And we're fighting one another foolishly. But we all have that connection with Krishna. And He is, just like your stomach, Your hand gets food and it puts it into the mouth and it goes into the stomach and the hand gets fed. Or you put water on the root of the tree and the tree grows, all the leaves get watered, everything grows nicely. All the branches and leaves are watered. You don't have to put water on each leaf. The hand doesn't have to feed the ear, feed the eye, feed the nose.
Not even
Feed the
That's a
mouth,
good
and
image, right?
feed the stomach and everything gets fed, right?
Yeah.
So there's a system to things. And that's there also in the universal sense. Okay? So by knowing these things, by learning these things, by hearing these things from the scripture, from guru, from the teachers, the great saints, then we can understand this is how it's all working. This is what my position is. And this is how I learn. This is how I understand how I have to live. To try to live according to that higher knowledge, not according to this whimsical, haphazard way that we've been brought up in this world, hearing from this person, getting this opinion and that opinion, and trying to figure out what it's all about on our own. Without, well, you should live for your own self, you know. And that's all nonsense because we don't know. One of the prayers we say, Om Magina Timirandasya, I'm born in the darkness of ignorance. And my guru has opened my eyes. Because we don't hear these things, we don't learn these things in school. Nobody talks about God or what our relationship with God is or how it's important to us unless you go to a Catholic school or whatever, Christian school. You may hear something, but even they tell you your life, your purpose of your life is to love and serve God in this world. Be happy with Him forever in the next, something like that. But what are the details they don't explain? That we find in the Vedic scriptures, Vedic literature of India. So many elaborate descriptions of these things that wake us up, put us in contact with that higher understanding of things. And there is an influence coming from that higher plane. There is. If we purify our lives, if we live according to those higher understandings, then we become more and more in tune with that. And we'll find all the reactions from the past simply disappear. They no longer influence us. And we can see more clearly knowledge. The result, the reward for following the Lord's instruction is that we get buddhi, the intelligence. The Dami buddhi yodam tam. I give you the intelligence by which you can come to me, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita. And intelligence, that knowledge will be given to us. When all the muddy waters are filtered out, when the whole thing becomes peaceful, and we can see clearly to the bottom of the thought, the bottom of our hearts, then we will see. And everything is there. We don't have to add anything. Just have to remove all this nonsense, all the dirt. Right? And this chanting process is very nice, very simple, joyful process.
Peaceful.
It helps to do that. It helps us to train the swamp, as Trump would call it. That swamp that's causing so much confusion, so much bewilderment in our lives. And we can see things very nicely. And our lives become peaceful and joyful and loving and happy.
So most people live in the material plane because that's just how life is for the majority of the people. So it is about having enough money to pay your bills, or to live in a house, to have shelter, to have food. How do you transition to the higher plane when you're still in this environment? And how do you help get people out of it? Because everyone, I talk to, because I teach people about finances, because people struggle with their finances because they've overextended themselves. And so I help them try to figure out how to get out of debt and how to, make money so that they can have less stress in their life.
Mm-hmm.
And so how do you get rid of that when that's where people are stuck?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that it's very difficult to tell people to stop what you're doing and to chant. So we don't tell that. I don't say that to people. We just tell them, add this to your life. Read some books, chant, meditate. Take a little time off from your hectic life and try to focus on these things as much as you can. If you like to offer your food to Krishna and then take it, just like people used to say grace when they took meals and things like that. You know, that's a very nice thing that you can do, very simple.
Certain
If you want to
foods.
be more, I'm sorry?
Certain foods.
Huh?
Certain foods.
Certain foods, yes. Whatever, you know, if they can manage to do that at least. Of course, Krishna accepts, he tells us what he likes to eat. And if we offer that, that's better than just offering a pork chop or lamb chop or something, a hamburger like that.
How do you offer food to Krishna?
Well, we generally have an altar like this, and we have certain prayers that we say, and we whatever food we're going to eat, or we would normally eat, we first prepare it in a small plate and put it on the altar, and then say certain prayers in the offering to
And
Krishna.
what
thanking
happens
him.
then?
Huh?
What happens after that?
Then, if we pray that he will receive that food, accept that food, and bless that food, and then we take that. Then
And
we
you
eat it.
throw it out?
So-
No, they consume it.
Then we eat
You
it.
have
Then
to
we
take-
consume
Oh,
it.
you eat that food after?
Yes.
Yeah, after offering
As a
it.
sacrifice.
Oh, okay.
It's like offering it in sacrifice, then taking the remnants, after he has tasted it. And it's really wonderful, because the food just, it takes on a new flavor, because it's so imbued with love and purity. And we become more loving and pure by receiving that food. And like Krishna Kejava said, we offer generally fruits and vegetables and grains, milk products.
Natural.
No meat, fish, or eggs. We
No
don't eat
onion,
that.
no garlic.
No garlic or onion.
No garlic?
No garlic, no onion.
And explain why.
Why?
Maharaj,
You explain.
because
spicy?
because because it is has a mode of ignorance. Tamagun, tamagun, sattva, raja, tama, there are three modes. So Krishna don't accept those type of food which are in tamagun.
Yeah, each food has a different quality associated with it. So the onions, garlic, things, they have a certain quality that is not very favorable. And more purer foods are there that we can eat, like pure vegetables or grains or things like that. So there are certain things that are higher frequencies, I guess, than others, or something you want to call it.
So what are the highest frequency foods?
Goodness, they're called satagun.
No, which are those foods?
Food, huh?
Which food comes under that quality?
What food comes under goodness? Like milk and sweets.
Sweets?
Sweets. What else?
Rice, dal.
Rice. And in India they eat dal, something like mung bean dal, things like that.
Vegetables,
Yeah.
like vegetables,
Vegetables.
Cauliflower,
beans.
all these things.
The foods that are grown naturally in the earth.
Potatoes,
Yeah,
potatoes.
you're not gonna offer cereal or something.
Right, no,
Cereal
not
is
yet.
cereal.
Really?
Well, not the
Really?
processed foods, yeah, we try to
Processed
avoid.
Yeah, not
Yeah,
processed
yeah.
foods.
Not honey nut
But some
Cheerios.
processed.
No.
Exactly.
Only onion, garlic, mushroom, turnip we don't offer.
And the meat and
Wow.
egg and fish, and obviously. All other things we can offer.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can eat nice foods that are good for you. And, not processed and chemicalized and all that stuff is possible.
Right, natural, and it's natural.
Considered sattvic or goodness, food in the mode of goodness. And there are food in the mode of ignorance, food in the mode of passion is like very spicy foods, that would be considered the mode of passion. Little spice is okay, but it's good for the system. And you can combine passion and goodness, but tamasic foods, we don't want to use that so much. Avoid that. Wine and liquors and stuff like that may not be considered in the most beneficial for your spiritual development. Alcohol, etc.
So how this considered, what
where is the alcohol in this whole? You don't use alcohol at all, right? Like even wine? Because in Christianity, wine is used a lot.
In Christianity, wine they use,
Yes.
so we don't use.
You know, it's like in a particular culture, like Christ also distributed fish. You don't eat fish. But in a particular culture, what the people are used to eating, you can't tell them to stop eating fish if they're fishermen.
Mm-hmm.
They'll lose their jobs and they won't have anything to eat because it's all that they can eat there. So wine and all those things were the common food of that time. You know, but not necessary for your sustenance to have those things. So when they offer that in the mass and things like that, I mean, it's a sip you only take, put it to your lips basically. You know, that's just from the tradition, from the times that Christ lived it. But if you know, like I said, one doesn't have to remain attached to the Christian tradition in order to believe in Christ, believe that He's the Son of God. I mean, we believe that He's an avatar of God. But we don't follow all the things that the Catholics do as far as, you know, offering bread and wine like that. We offer a whole dish of whole, you know, potatoes and rice and whatever.
And also is the whole thing about no alcohol because it affects the mind.
Well, that also, you know, that's I guess the main thing that
Yeah.
we have an objection against that. It does kill the cell, the brain. I understand. Some people say it has some benefit with drinking the wine made from the grapes, fermented, basically fermented grape juice. Right? Some of those things do have benefit, and if it's mild, that may be okay. But not being in the mode of passion or ignorance, I mean, we eat yogurt, which is fermented milk. You know? So fermentation is not a bad thing necessarily, as long as it's not excessive. Or you don't only drink wine excessively or whatever.
But I think if you offer it to Krishna, it has a totally different energy to it, and it's really.
After you offer it to Krishna, it has a totally different energy in that food.
So when you are after offering it to Krishna and you are eating that food, you're eating it in a very different way.
Yes.
So it's not the same. Because you're conscious about what's actually coming into your body.
Very nice, yes. Exactly. Thank you. Exactly.
Masaru Emoto from Japan, he has a study on conditioning the water.
Yes.
And with intentions, they change the molecular structure of
Yes.
water,
I heard of
which
it. Yes.
crystallizes in different forms and shapes,
Yes.
as opposed to your negative words.
Yes.
So with the intentions and prayers, we change the structure of the food that we are eating.
Yes. Absolutely.
And if we can change, then what about the Lord? He can change also.
Yes.
It's very
That's
powerful.
what-
That is very powerful because people don't realize when energy, you totally affect the energy around you, which then is a ripple effect into other people. So if you are a positive, and the water proves it, even
Right.
water proves it.
Scientific proof.
Or
Listen,
here, this is the mecca of quantum physics, I guess. The observer